I just want to say one thing. When I started out in comedy, I've been doing this shit fucking 13 years. And I did a bit in LA, about a year and a half I lived in LA. And the first time I did it, Joe Rogan was emceeing. And before the show, he went, I'm emceeing tonight. There's going to be some good talent here tonight. It's a new town. There's going to be some shit. And I did my set, and I did quite well. And when I got off stage, he went, that's some of the talent I was talking about. And it meant something to me. I was like, yeah, Joe thinks I'm funny. And I was motivated, and I went on and I did comedy. And so I just want to say it's a fucking honor, 10 years later, to be here opening for Joe. That's fucking awesome.
Hello, beautiful humans. What's going on? I want to tell a little story today. It's a story about when I was a bitch and I didn't speak my mind, didn't speak my truth, and it cost me a huge opportunity. And it's a story about hanging out with Joe Rogan. It's kind of relevant now because, Joe's obviously huge and he's popping off. He just did this huge deal with Spotify. So he's now one of the richest definitely one of the most successful and you can say richest comedians probably of all time. I mean, who knows? I don't know. It's pretty huge.
When was the last time we talked? How many years ago?
So the story goes back to 2010. I was doing a stand-up comedy. For those of you who don't know, I started out in 97. And I'd actually gigged with Joe once before, and there's a whole other story there. So I get a call from a comedy promoter basically saying, hey man, I need a favor. I got a gig happening tomorrow, and I need somebody to open for Joe Rogan. Do you want to do it?
Oh, snap, son.
Yeah. Now, obviously, Joe wasn't as famous as he is now, but he was still fucking, So I'm like, let me get this straight. You want to pay me money to do a gig with Joe Rogan tomorrow night? He's like, yeah. I'm like, I'm going to do this for you one time. One time, bro. So what happens is this.
Fucking awesome. Only in this country have I seen a fucking man get drunk, go on the street, puke on a homeless guy, then pee on him to water it up. There you go, fella.
Dude, Comedy Therapy is running starting May 31st, and you should be there. Here's why. It allows people to connect deeply with their pain, their trauma, their bullshit stories. When you actually make jokes about this stuff and you share, you feel better, man. That yucky energy just leaves your body, and it allows you to have fun, laugh your ass off while connecting with other people. It's pretty epic. Details are below. So what happens is this. I wanted to be sharp, you know what I'm saying? I wanted to be good for this gig. I'm like, this Joe Rogan, I'm gonna be funny. Joe's got to see me be funny. You know what I'm saying? I'm like, I gotta knock this one out of the park. So I wanted to have like a warm-up gig so I could really get hot, get on my shit right before the show. So I called up the Comedy Store in London, which is a really big club. And I was doing unpaid 10-minute spots there. So I hadn't done one in a while, but I called up and he says, we can't get you on right before, but we can get you on like after. So basically, after the Joe Rogan gig's done, you want to do a gig? And I was like, well, that doesn't really help me. And he's like, shit, no, actually, we really need somebody. Now that I got you on the phone, do you mind doing it? And my gut instinct was like to say no, because I knew I wanted to hang out with Joe after the show, right? It's my time to like connect with Joe Rogan. It's pretty good. And I kind of was like, I don't really. And he's like, oh, come on, man, do the gig. And I, because I'm, Mr. Nice Guy, and I was still a bitch at that point in my life. Rather than standing up in my truth and being like, no, brother, I mean, like, I called you guys because I wanted to do a gig before this gig. That's not really going to help me. And I want to hang out with Joe Rogan after the gig. So, no, I don't want that gig. But I didn't do that. I was like, okay, I'll do it, even though kind of my instinct was like not to do it. So I agreed to do it. Now, here's what happened. I do the Joe Rogan gig. It was fucking great. It was great. The crowd was fucking hype. They were excited. They really liked me. Everything was good. It couldn't have gotten better than it did. Joe's like, hey, man, you funny. And I was like, thanks, Joe. So that's it. That's it. That's all I needed. My ego loved it. Joe said I was funny. That's good enough for me. I left the gig and I went to the Comedy Store. Did the other gig. It was okay. It was nowhere near as good. It was a bit of a come down, actually. I was like, oh, fuck, I didn't need this. But I did the gig. But what sucked is I went back to the original show, and it was like in a theater, and everything was locked up, so I couldn't get back inside. I called up my buddy Dave, who I knew would be out drinking with Joe. And guess what? His phone's off, or there's somewhere where there's no reception. So he probably took Joe to his favorite basement pub, place, whatever, and they're drinking away. And I know I should have been there with those two guys that night. That was the plan, and it never happened. Now, I'm not grumpy about it now. Maybe a little. No, I'm okay with it now. But back then, for years, I was like, fucking hell, man, I messed that up. That's one of those moments where had I just spoken my truth life could have been very, very different. Who knows? I'd be 5 times, 10 times, 100 times of a bigger following, which means I could be helping more people, which is why I'm on planet Earth. So it was an opportunity missed. And if I had the skills now, having done all the healing work and just dealing with my shit and dealing with my trauma and dealing with all the doubts I had and facing my fears in a big way and all the social freedom stuff that I've done, now I'm far more likely just to speak my mind and be like, nope, that's not for me. Not going to do that gig. Thanks so much, though. God bless you. Like, if you know what your truth is and you know what you want and what you don't want, speak your truth. Stand up for yourself. If it's a yes, it's a yes. If it's a no, it's a no. Say it loud. Be proud. Say it loud. Express yourself. Because, we're not here to make other people happy. And we're the only ones responsible for our own lives. So if we can't stand up for what we want and we can't be authentic with our intentions and expressing our intentions, then we're going to have a poopy life. So there you go. On the flip side, though, I kind of was an asshole back then. I mean, I wasn't really an asshole, but I was unconscious. I was arrogant. I was loud. And maybe I would have made a bad impression. You know what I'm saying? Maybe I would have gone on to Joe Rogan podcast and everyone would have been like, you're kind of a dick. So maybe it's for the best that I didn't at that point. You know what I'm saying? So really a really good reminder for all of us to be doing the personal work, be working on yourself. If you have doubts, fears, if you don't feel comfortable with who you are, push your comfort zones, do uncomfortable things, do the work, go on your own personal awakening journey, your personal healing journey so that you can become the fearless, loving, high vibrational force of nature that you were meant to be on this planet. Don't hold back. We all have that potential. I feel like I'm realizing my potential, and I know you can realize yours too. And guess what? My comedy therapy course coming up is all about what I'm talking about right now. Fearlessness, self-love, healing, being okay with who you are, being okay with your story, being okay with being a little bit fucked up, and seeing the funny side and joking about it, healing it, and sharing your truth and your story with others. So if you're interested in working with me over this 8-week course, click on the right link and I'll see you in there. Peace. See you in the next one. Mwah.